What's going on, nerds and blerds? It's your boy Nerd Solo, and we're back with another Blerd Check. And the goal of Blerd Check, what we do here. We check in on the blurs, check in what's going on in the blerd community, and sometimes we have a special guest. And today is one of those days. And this is a special edition of Blerd Check. This is a Blerd Station edition of Blerd Check. And we will be interviewing the guy from Monarch Comics, Josh Bullock.
Okay.
How's it going, Josh?
Hey, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just constantly working.
Yeah.
This is a break for me, so I'm happy to do it.
Nice. I've been seeing a lot of your stuff. Never had contact with you, but my thing ever since I got into this this media space, my bookshelf is full of Black written comics because I go to a lot of conventions, meet a lot of people, and I'm like, oh my god, this stuff is amazing. Let me get that one. And so my Instagram, I follow a bunch of comic creators and Monarchs, man. It looks, that's one of those things that catches your eye just by walking, just scrolling by. You're like, whoa, what is that? Let me dive into that a bit. Tell us a little bit about Monarch Comics.
Yeah, so I started this whole Instagram journey back in like 2018. The idea was actually my sister. She was like, "Hey, you do a lot of the art stuff. You need to start posting your stuff on Instagram." Because at the time I was doing a lot of YouTube animation, and then I just decided like, "Hey, I want to kind of start doing some freelance stuff." And yeah, so she was just like, "Post some stuff on Instagram and see what happens." So I had this idea. I got on Instagram and saw a lot of Black artists posting like Black versions of Dragon Ball Z and some of these other things. And I was like, that's dope and that's cool. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, but what if we, did something on our own with that? So what if we did like a successor to that? So that's where Monarch came from. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, been since I saw this Frieza saga back when I was in elementary school.
Since the Toonami days.
Yeah, I think that's everybody. A lot of people's origin story. That was my first intro into anime. So I really want to do something that had that kind of feel and had that kind of appeal. So yeah, I started Monarch's comic, and then I started just drawing, and I was just like, oh, I wanted to draw Jakari first. At first, I wanted him to be an adult, and then I was like, well, I kind of want to make something where the kids can grow with it, because I grew up with Goku, so I was like, well, maybe having him grow up with having the audience grow up with the character would be dope. So started doing that, and then it just from there, man, it just went crazy. I had all these characters, I had plot lines, I had storyline. Got seen by Black Sands Entertainment. They threw a lot of their audience my way, which blew up my Instagram initially, and then from there, I've just really been, I started doing the first 4 chapters, and then I kind of, over the past year, I took a break from it because I wanted to rethink some things. But I mean, we'll go into that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. But for the people that haven't heard of Monarch Comics and don't know what it's about, why don't you give us a little bit summary, like a little bit of backstory? Nothing that you wouldn't see in a trailer. They'll give away all the bits for free.
So Monarchs, it follows the story of Jakari and Pepper. They want to become these powerful fighters called Monarchs. So all the Monarchs in the galaxy, they have crowns above their heads that have different colors, and that signifies their power level. So that's what Jakari and Pepper want to be. And they kind of get into it by fighting against this guy named Big Bruce. Jakari ends up getting a crown, and then from there, it's just they go on a crazy adventure, throughout the world and throughout the galaxy, fighting against these different monarchs. Um, so that's kind of the short version of it.
Nice, nice. Now, I like that a lot because it, like you said, you can tell, you know, inspired by Dragon Ball Z, like you said. You
Yeah,
can look at it kind of, and then from that little summary, you kind of see and hear why. But
yeah,
also, it's a little bit of Afro Samurai in there with like the crowns on the heads. I mean, there's
yeah,
only two headbands, but I do like that's like a really cool aspect to I want to say anime, but it's not because I'm, every time I'm reading something, I have this whole movie playing in my head. But like
yeah,
even when you were saying it, and then like the couple clips and reels that I've seen, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna
yeah.
go crazy. So I do like that. Now, is there any other animes that inspired it, or is it mainly Dragon Ball Z?
So when I started it, it was mainly Dragon Ball. At the time, I was getting into My Hero Academia,
Mm,
so that actually drove some of the art style because initially I did want to go more with a Dragon Ball look, and then it kind of moved away from that,
hmm
just because I like the My Hero Academia art style. But yeah, no, it's inspired by like again My Hero Academia. And then a lot of influences, of course, from Black culture. So the whole crown concept idea that came from Basquiat and his his artwork, with the
Nice.
floating crowns. The Cyrus characters, so the guy with the ring over his head, the tall, big, buff white
hmm
dude. He's actually inspired by one of Basquiat's paintings. Like it's a recreation of that character design. Um, so I was really driven from that. And the basic thing was like, yeah, taking all of this stuff from anime, but injecting our culture directly into it, was the plan.
Oh, dude, yeah. Um, I like what you said about saying also My Hero Academia, and I'm like, oh, obviously, and that's a great art style to go off of because in anime there's not a whole lot of there is a whole lot, but like the main like shonen stuff, it's usually like humans or like demons and things like that, but not like humanoid animals
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because there is I'm writing a story myself. I always talk about things that I write, and I just like put it off to the side. I'd never do anything with all the writings I do. I just like do it on the on the side. Maybe one day I
Yeah.
will. One of them is called The King's Son, where everyone's like humanoid animals. The
Right.
main character, he's like a lion humanoid, and his father is the king, and he's like a giant lion humanoid type dude, and like his mentor is like a goat type, or not,
Oh, that's
like
dope.
he's more like an elk, like really.
Yeah.
Like he's like this wise old elk and things like that, and he's like the king's right hand. So and I was thinking about it. I was like, should I change it? Because I don't. I feel like people tend to not go towards the animal styles, but I love things like that because I'm into
Yeah.
like fantasy, like Fae and Lord of the Rings, and so there's all kinds of creatures and stuff talking around. So I love it. Did you ever think about going straight up with humanoids, or did you already have that vision in your mind?
So I mean, I like when I first really got into it, I started diving also into a lot of like African storytelling. So a lot of African storytelling includes animals. So
Yes, yes,
that was the idea. I mean, the idea with because of Nancy the spider is an antagonist in the story. So like bringing him in, bringing Brer Rabbit, who's also another antagonist. They're part of the Spider Clan, which is their little group of tricksters. So like having those animal characters, I was like, well, I need to fill the roster with other, animal type characters. So,
yeah.
Pepper came in, and then it just from there, I was like, yeah, I just want to have fun with it. I want to create some wacky character designs and just have fun with it.
Nice, nice. Now, is there anything behind the name Monarch? Like, did that just kind of the name you landed on, or what? Is there kind of some kind of meaning behind it, or anything like that?
So initially I just named it Monarchs just because I wanted to do it. So initially Jakari's name was King. That was his name before. And I just thought King Monarchs it all fit together with, the that. So and then the crowns above their heads, I was just like, I don't want to call it kings because that doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
and I really couldn't think of anything else that signified crowns or because I wanted to give a really easy and memorable name to these powerful fighters in this universe. And so Monarchs was just like, oh, off the top of the head, like, yeah, like I think people will remember that when you hear that, and then pair that with the crowns that are above their heads.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, what made you want to go into publishing your comic yourself and not going with another?
Um, oh man, yeah. I I guess I didn't really know. I know you had to get like an agent, and there was a lot going into that, and I just did not want to go down that road just because I had talked to a couple of people. A couple of people reached out to me when I started, and they were like, "Hey, this is great. We want to do something with it." But then, a lot of the contracts that I read over, it was a lot of things where I wouldn't own much of it.
Mm,
And then, there was like these tight deadlines and stuff like that. And at the time, I was like, I don't know if I could hit that because I was also, working doing animation for my job to make the bills or pay the bills. So, um, so yeah, I just decided to go with the self-publishing just because one, I would have more control over what I was doing. I would be able to take as much time as I needed to make sure I got it done. And then also, um, I found it more, what's the word I'm looking for? I found it just more, I
you want to
found
say
it
more
to be
simple, but
more,
not
yeah,
easy.
well, and just I found it more encouraging to do this by myself and see what it does, and then
Yeah.
not have to pay somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's initially what I did, and it worked. I mean, it was tough getting into self-publishing, but
Yeah.
once I figured it out, it worked really well.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. You, you, in a sense, it made sense. It was a lot, made it more simple on yourself by giving yourself more work, not necessarily making it
Yeah,
easier.
yeah,
It's just a lot of other avenues. It's easier just to have it down this one pipeline, which is me.
yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
awesome. And you got the hang of it now. You got, multiple titles, so
Yeah,
things are
yeah.
going well. Um, Now about your books, you highlight a lot of black representation and black nerd culture. It's pretty obvious, but why don't you let the audience know why it's so important for you to focus on representation and keeping the blurred culture relevant or making it even more relevant.
So the one thing that I always say is uh when it comes to blurred culture is every other group of people they always preserve their stuff and the content they make, they always push it. I mean, Japan, I mean, they push their food, they push their music, they push everything, and we eat it up, we love it.
They do it well.
Um, yeah. And I've always had this thing of like, why do we not do that? Why do we have to question ourselves? Why do we have to, I've seen posts where people are like, oh, should I make my protagonist white or should I make my
And that's
and I was like,
it's
yeah,
so sorry to cut you off, but that's
no, you're
always
good.
so it always made me like wonder, not judging anybody because we all been there, especially growing
Yeah,
up in this society and the things we see on TV and tells you what's the cool thing and what's the right and wrong thing to do, which usually isn't the black thing or whatever. But then
right.
you see throughout history, like everyone gets on this black culture train at some point or another.
Yeah,
Like, and so why are we even like doubt? Where is the doubt coming from? Everyone obviously wants to be us in secret
yeah. Well,
or be
and the
like us.
reason yeah, and the reason I do animation, the reason I do comics and stuff to this day is because during the 90s I grew up watching stuff like Static Shock.
Hmm.
And I was the kid that was watching Fillmore and just all these black cartoons that was like back to back to back. It seemed like it was just a flurry of them. And so it's important for our kids to see that kind of stuff. And you know, a lot of the stuff I make is geared towards like kids, is inspiring them to make their own thing. And that's what I want to do. It just inspires them. They get to see a character that looks like them. They get to see a character that might be going through the same thing. Or in Monarch's case, they're not going through what Jakari's going through, but they get to see a black kid whooping a
You get to
jug of milk's
see
ass.
a black kid
Excuse
with
my
a go.
language.
No, you're fine. We love the kids. We do a lot of things for kids,
Yeah.
advertise things for charities for kids, but this is a parents podcast. It's a parents
Oh, okay.
podcast. You know, me and my son, we're working on maybe doing a podcast. Me and my daughter and son are working on doing
Yeah.
something. You know, right now we I just got this going on. But yeah, I mean, it's you get to see a black kid with the mentality of Goku, like,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's like no real rhyme or reason. He's just like, I just want to be strong. Let's
Yeah.
let's get there.
Exactly. And I just feel like we don't have enough of it, especially with African Americans. We are just fighting to be seen. And I mean, I'm glad we're getting a bunch of stuff coming out, especially from Africa. We're getting a ton of really great content that's coming out. I just feel as I personally feel like it's not enough. There needs to be more.
Ayanu.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
great.
the big one right now. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of them coming. There is so much so many black creators, so many new up and coming black animations that are, you know, trying to find their way. You know, aside from you guys as well, I've seen a handful over the past year, like on YouTube or little reels, and I'm like, hey, what was that? What was
yeah,
that? Kind of the same way when you see a Monarch's reel or something, you're like, hey,
yeah.
what's going on there?
And I
um,
mean, and I see it. Yeah, I see it all the time. And I mean, other people inspire me. They inspire me to keep creating, and so that's mainly why. Yeah, keep doing it.
yeah, and that's the best part about the this blurred community. It's doing away with that crab in the barrel mentality or stereotype, whatever people thought of it. You know, it's
Yeah,
like out here I see people achieving their goals, and that's because other not even just people who like their things like fans, it's other creators who are like
yeah,
their peers that are like, hey, look what my friend's doing, look at what this guy's doing, this is awesome too. There's enough for everybody. We all, you know, we want a whole thing, not just like
yeah.
one. But
Exactly.
what themes or messages are you hoping readers take away from your comics and manga?
So the one of the biggest ones is just hope. Um, in the world today, I mean, man, I feel it myself. There's just a lot of hopelessness, um, especially in our young kids. I just see. I mean, my kids, they go through it. Just having hope, not just in people, but having hope and um, in yourself. You know, my son, he deals with a lot of stuff. We know we live in Indiana. We live in a predominantly white area, and so he goes to school with a lot of white kids, and you know, he hears things. He hears things. Things are said to him, and you know, him having to come home and grapple with those things, and then not just that, me as a parent having to grapple with that when I didn't have to go through that.
Yeah,
Um, it's tough. It's real tough. And I'm like, what can I do for him? And I know if he's going through it, I know a bunch of other kids like him are going through it. So what can I do in my work to you know, give them hope? And so that's the biggest one is just providing hope.
yeah, that's awesome because you know, like you said, it's kind of why we're all in this space. You know, we kind of want to show everybody and put the kids on and give them things that we didn't have growing up, and then hope is one of the things we can give them. Especially that's why I push like reading so much.
Yeah.
You know, don't get lost in your tablets and things like that. Read some stuff, And like a lot of people don't think this is like a serious thing, but like my kids have to watch Naruto and things like that. This
Yeah.
kid is inspiring, like
Yeah.
like
Oh,
very very
that's his
silly.
favorite thing, man. Is Naruto.
Yeah, like, it's very inspiring. If you don't mind me asking, how old is your son?
He's 11.
Okay,
I was gonna say he just turned 12. He's 11.
my daughter's 12. She turned 12 over the summer, and she's
Nice.
in seventh grade. And she deals with the same thing. Very, happy kid and things, but she deals with a lot of stuff too. You can tell she has those moments and stuff like that, and it's the same thing, predominantly white area, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So,
Yeah.
well, we're in Huntersville, North Carolina, which is outside of Charlotte,
Right.
and it's hard. I mean, even as a parent going to work every day, it's hard
Yeah.
to stay hopeful for things,
Yeah.
especially in times like this. So we got to do the best we can to
Yeah.
give them, the tools and things for them to, you know, feel that, you know, and
Yeah.
which is great, which is why I love interviewing writers because that's what most of them strive to do. They have, majority of them have kids themselves, and you know, some of their stories have messages that they're trying to convey to their children as well, or to themselves as parents.
Yeah. And provide an escape. That's the other one. Just provide an escape for these kids. Get them in another world where they can just read something fun, have fun, and they don't have just for that moment. They don't have to think about that
Yeah,
whatever happened at school.
yeah, exactly. Toonami was ours.
Yep. Couldn't wait to get home.
Now, are there any personal experiences that influence any characters in your stories,
Um,
or that influence any of the stories?
yeah, yeah. So I guess I could start with, I mean, with Jakari, just his whole character, just him being, I like his favorite thing is something called Blasto Crasho, which is it's
I like
it's
that.
it's Dragon Ball Z. It's a Goku character. He loves it, so of course that's my love for that. So he goes out, and that's basically why he's out there fighting bullies and stuff because he's trying to be Blasto Crasho. And then also the idea of monarchs and stuff like that. I watched wrestling and all that kind of stuff when I was a kid too. So I'm like, that kind of stuff. I'm like, yes, I love that.
Give him a special move, his ultimate
Yeah,
finisher. Yeah, make him yell it to the top of top of his lungs right before he does it, which is Blasto Crash. Oh my goodness. I could just like that could literally be I might actually not steal it, but I might start calling my son that after I read it. Like, because that's a perfect nickname for a Blasto Crash. I can see a bunch of kids running around saying that if they watched it after school. Like, you do the Power Ranger moves, you play Dragon Ball Z, you just do the moves.
yeah,
I can see
yeah,
kids on the lawn saying Blasto Crasho and coming in crying because he accidentally actually Blasto Crashoed his friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because like even my son, he already mimics a bunch of the things that some of the characters, especially like Jug and Jar, say in there. He thinks it's hilarious. And I'm like, well, mission accomplished for me. But uh, but
That's
yeah,
gotta
so
feel
that's
great.
that's the main one. Just looking up to like icons, especially in sports and stuff like that. So that's my life story. Cyrus coming in as like this mentor figure. I had a lot of mentors growing up, which I am thankful and blessed to have had that have guided me in the right direction. So that's kind of where Cyrus comes in. He kind of becomes this mentor to Jakari, and he is part of an alien race. So he's not even, he's not a human. So the dynamic between those two trying to figure each other out is how I grew up with. I had a professor at the college I graduated from, University of St. Francis, who believed in me, became my business partner, um, and really has helped me navigate a lot of things. And so that's a big part of the story, is just navigating this realm, um, within the Monarchs universe. and those are just two.
Nice, nice, nice. Very cool. Now, I mean, I probably would have gotten around to interviewing you regardless. But the big news as well, I mean, you deserve congratulations, you and your whole team, because you guys have became partners with Blerd Station.
Yep.
How did that partnership come about?
Um, I think I think they reached out to us. I'm trying to think of how that started. Oh, it
You've been
was
so busy.
so
You just said like you're kind of in
yeah,
your lull where you get the chill phase. So I could
yeah,
see if it's a
exactly.
whirlwind, you got to find your what happened.
Yeah, actually no. So it was through. So we have a we also do educational entertainment. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
kind of the job that pays the bills for me. It's called Play Watch. And so we have like a YouTube channel. We've been doing a lot of stuff trying to get into schools around the country actually. And we're actually trying to get into Texas. We've successfully gotten into Virginia.
nice.
And we're trying to get into Indiana. That was hard just because Indiana's a beast.
It's a different
But
beast.
yeah, and then we also just won the Best of STEM 2025 award, which was really cool.
Wow,
Um,
awesome, man!
yeah, but
Congratulations to that as well.
thank you. So that's another reason why I do this is just educating kids and stuff like that and providing like black characters in the education process. But yeah, so I think that is how we were initially found was just all the stuff we were doing with that and then
Seeing
yeah,
you
I
putting in that work,
yeah,
the
yeah,
education work.
yeah, and then from there I was just like, no, everything that Blur Station is doing, like I've been saying this for so long. I'm like, there just needs to be a collaboration of all these people coming together and just creating like like a station where our work sits and where we just constantly promote each other, push each other up, because everybody else has done it.
Yeah,
And for some reason, I love the fact that so many black people are trying to create their own, but I'm like, you guys creating your thing here and your thing here and your thing there. I'm like, it gets tiring. You wear yourself out because you're trying to do all that by yourself
and
instead
then
of just
you look over like your metaphorical fence to your
Mhm.
neighbor, not like a jealous thing. You just see like, oh, they're doing it. Theirs is still going. I got to keep going. And then not
Yeah,
knowing that they're actually looking at you like, oh, they're still going. But like
yeah,
Blerd Station is we're here together. We support each other. We're here on a mission to help each
yeah,
other out. And it kind of lifts that burden of, exhaustion of worrying about are you doing it right?
yeah,
What does other people think of me and things like that? When really it's like I said earlier, do away with that, that mentality, that crab in a barrel, or just like I'm by myself type thing. You know, that's
yeah,
and I know I'm sure the audience gets tired of the story because it's always so relevant. Like the reason why I started all nerd entertainment, you know, wanting to do things and wanting to do more and something more because in my 20s I just was a 20-year-old
yeah,
just doing my
yeah,
thing. In my college phase, I had a job but partying a lot and
yeah,
not thinking about anything. And I just like I want to have a platform. I know so many people, whether it was like me playing music or just meeting people. I'm like, hey, I know this person that's really good at this thing that would help what you're doing. And I just like, you guys need to meet. You guys
yeah,
need to be together. Like, and then look at this, Blerd Station exists. And they're like, oh yeah, let me get on the board with that and see if I can help you guys build this and
yeah.
make it a real thing.
100%, 100%. That's exactly the energy we need. It's just everybody collaborating, coming together. The fact that like black stunt actors are
Yeah.
part of this, and I'm like, you don't think about that. Like, you really don't think like of all the black artists that are out there,
Yeah. And
that are
funny
black.
thing, like I grew up, people ask you, what did you want to be growing up? I
Yeah,
never really answered that question truthfully until I got into this world of blurred culture. And which was quite frankly, I wanted to be a voice actor and I wanted to be a stuntman. Those were the coolest things to me in the world. Jackie Chan, like I watched a whole bunch of martial arts films, like foreign films growing up. Like that was my jam. So I
Yeah.
watched them all, and a lot of people did their own stunts, and Jackie Chan was the king of it. So
So,
I
yeah,
wanted
he
to
sure
be a
was.
stunt man, like, and then I wanted to be a voice actor growing up. Um, yeah, and so like we have a interview scheduled with Gary Peebles of Stunt POC. So I'm looking very much looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would also answered my next question of why did you think Blerd Station was a right fit? But what does being a part of Blerd Station family mean for your vision and your fans?
So for the vision, I would have to say, so the vision that I have is, I really want to just I want to expand what I do, um, as far as like books, but also getting into anime or getting into more animation work and just having the backing of somebody who's like, hey, you don't gotta worry about all the stuff about raising money or getting all these people on board. We'll get these people on board. You just make cool shit, so you give us something to go to these people and say, hey, support this. Like you have to support this.
Build it and they will come.
Exactly. So that for me, that's the biggest thing that really drew me to this is the fact that they're like, hey, like you make really cool stuff and we want to support it, and we want to bring that stuff in without being like, because I've talked to a lot of people who've wanted to start channels or wanted to start black networks or black family networks who are like, well, you need to do this, 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 this. You need to make a season of this, and then we can maybe get money for it, or you need to make all this work. And I'm just like, okay, but
Let me see 6 seasons and we'll take the first one and then
yep,
we'll go from there.
make $1 million and we'll give
Let's
you a
put
hundred
this in the
thousand.
vault because actually it doesn't work for the timing fiscally
Yeah,
for us, and then we'll see you in 6 years after COVID.
yeah. And like even right now, I mean, things are promising. I can't really talk what's going on right now, but like moving through the industry itself is a headache. And I'm glad I have, people that are working with me through that, but it's still it sucks. So like for people who don't have that, what do you do? And I feel like Blerd Station gives them that place to be like, hey, we can support you, we can help you get to where you need to be. And again, you don't have to think about all the back end. You don't have to think about all this stuff. We can do that for you, but you just make cool shit. Make cool shit and we'll be able to support it.
See, that's I like it. And you can kind of I know it already happened for you and it's not like you're still not under pressure for like the things you do because you grind. But like you can see when you said it, like you remember like, oh, that weight kind of lifted off my shoulders, like just a little
Uh,
bit. You saw some and you're like,
man,
oh,
I
teams.
I
Like I
took
got a
the weights
team.
off like Goku. the weighted gi off.
It was Rock Lee took off the weights.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah,
can work. Blerd Station was Guy, and they were like, "I give you permission."
yep, exactly.
Oh, but let's put a pin in it right there. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, real quick. You
Okay.
guys can see some of the things that's going on with Blerd Station, and some of the things that's going on with All Nerd Entertainment and Nerd.0, but we will be back in just a moment.